Hey, what's going on, everybody? Edge Evolution here, and I got a special one for y'all. We got TonOfVision's a quarter.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Let's get
Hey,
it. Just getting myself situated real quick. We're all good to go. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
yes, sir.
Perfect. Likewise for you. Alrighty.
Now we're
What
gonna be
day is
talking
it today?
about with Pluto being in Aquarius, the supporting factors of Cancer and Virgo, making that yod energy, and how that would affect the individual's life. So,
Beautiful. And specifically the yod we're going to be looking at is going to be that yod right between. Oh, we got the rising flipped right now. Funny enough, it's because we're in Libra hours, but we got Libra in the first house, Aries in the seventh. But
yeah,
that yo right there that he's highlighting right there in Virgo in between the basically the Aquarius moon, Pluto and the sun in Aries, making that yod over there to our Virgo energies with Lilith and Juno and whatnot. For me personally, I didn't even look to go beyond just the sun and the moon in my very first interpretation, meaning like I wasn't accounting for Pluto being conjuncted the moon at that time. I was really looking at it as we are being given opportunities to create an individual goal or purpose in order to represent our dreams that we seek to develop as the actual motion picture, the string of events. Um, and then, Pluto is kind of insinuated through that lens of of my breakdown. But specifically what I'm looking at is how the Aquarius moon is us kind of reacting and responding to how certain events are coordinated and strung together. So this could have looked like having a whole lot of motion going on, and then just running into a complete wall or a complete, end of the road or end of the rope, rather, as far as what you had rolled out in your mind and trying to piece things together to where we're getting to a point where basically it's like we're having to stop, ponder again as to what am I really doing here? Me as an individual, what am I really doing here? Because no type of trains of reference or big bro teachings can fill in certain gaps that we have in our day-to-day life, and that's where that Virgo energy is coming in between the Aquarius and Aries energy. Is that's the day-to-day life part. That's like, okay, you could take this mind frame, this mindset of Aquarian knowledge, and with the moon here we're reacting to what we consider our mindset and our knowledge, but how does that look on your day-to-day? Are you really down to wear that individual badge of honor? Are you really down to stand on what it is that you are seeking to identify as your journey of where you currently are versus where you're headed, and stringing those events together? So that's kind of how I've been playing these last few days, is really noticing what the fuck has been feeling like I'm running into a wall or feeling like I'm running into a end of a script per se, because that's the red flag of, oh shit, why am I even doing this? You know what I mean? Um, as well as just getting a lot more present in my day to day. I found myself actually, funny enough, with the Aquarius moon, I've actually found myself getting off of social media just because I realized how, I didn't really necessarily realize this, but I was just paying attention to how the um the individual that's broadcasted on the app is just so drastically different than the needs of the individual in real life, and that's just a little petty example of how I'm using the energy. But basically, what I'm saying is I'm honing back into what is my individual space at a transit like this, and focusing how to make my everyday circumstances, my sixth house energies, my Virgo energies actually look like the net or the buckets that I want to catch, the emotions, the waters, the rains that come down in the moments ahead of us.
all right. And I didn't even realize that about the end of the storyline till you just said it right now.
Yeah.
I've been kind of experiencing that as well. And then to piggyback up what you said about like doing what you do in like everyday life as upholding that idea that you had that you was doing, it's
Mm-hmm.
like that's been coming up for me as well, like in the past like couple weeks of like how like is what like I'm doing nourishing me, and like is what I'm doing like actually nourishing like the idea that I had set out for myself, or is it just um like idle time going on during like my
Yeah.
south stuff, my everyday actions.
Yeah, and this is really when identifying Gollum work can come into play too, because this is when you can realize like, oh, what movie am I still subscribing to right now? Like it's so odd throughout the houses of the day, aka the hours of the day, you'll go through different facets of yourself as far as order of importance. You know what you deem as what matters right now. Whether you'll wake up in the morning and be a okay to get to work and whatnot, but as the day goes on, all of a sudden you're thinking about other desires, other senses. Like you want a more community presence. You want to actually be social, whatever the fuck the case may be. You might want to go get to work on something else. Um, and so one thing that I've been doing in a time like this is really realizing, well, damn, what facet of this is this action or lack thereof reinforcing in my mind? Like who is narrating right now, you know? Um, think about it. I don't know if y'all ever seen those Wayside stories when we were younger. I'm a 2000 baby. When we were younger, there was these books called Wayside High or Wayside Middle School. It was either elementary school, middle school, high school, it don't matter. But the whole point was it was a building that was supposed to, instead of like being built sideways, it was built right on top of itself. So there's like 100 something floors and shit. And it's just a goofy ass show, and the fact there's probably an allegory built, yeah, built on this fucking side. But specifically, the way that the story is structured is each individual entry will come from a different person's perspective, you know. So what I'm bringing that back towards applying that to this transit is realizing like, oh, am I just carrying on the narration of this previous story that I low key didn't even wish to identify as? Because like I don't know if you know, but that Lilith, despite it showing in Libra, there's like different Liliths and whatnot. You and I already talked about that off screen, but just for the sake of the representation, where you know another source is gonna put Lilith in Virgo right now. But either or, the way that I see it is we're seeing ourselves basically be in full tilt with our narratives that we've built for ourselves or that we've agreed to be a part of. And now it's like we're coming up with these individual growths that were minus any type of perceivable deficit because we had a specific desire attached to the string. So wherever that specific string went, we thought we had to go around those corners. It's like we'll be in spaces like that, pulling good information about ourselves in a self-reflexious manner. But then at that moment, we'll realize, like, damn, wait a minute. Have I just been doing this shit because I haven't asserted myself in XYZ facets of life? And this will really come down to where your Virgo energy is as far as like the houses, as well as your Aries and your Aquarius, as far as what yod have you not been honing in on as the point. But yeah, you're basically going to be coming to an assimilation point where you see are you it almost looks very binary, and then in the middle it's like you have to actually go through the Virgo, the details of seeing what is right and wrong and not just leaving so many things up to chance, at least in my opinion, at least. um as this is like a unity time. Aries is always a unifying time, especially with the North. No, that's why I say read the fucking rules and regulations right now, and don't leave things up to chances, because usually when you're leaving stuff up to chance, there's usually a desire at the end. I'd rather you use hope, you know, find something that actually is within yourself. Like you see yourself within that chance. You feel me? At that point, you're kind of putting some extra oomph in it, some extra energy, not just some fuck it. If it happens, it happens. If not, you know.
Yeah.
And then that might be the approach to certain energies. I'd use that approach. It's so funky. So it's like how things aren't necessarily good or bad. It's just how you're using it. Because I would rather use that approach in the situations where I don't identify as myself. And so any what if that comes up upon that, you know what I mean? Like fuck it, if it happens, it does. If it doesn't, oh well. You know what I mean? And that way, I'm not pumping life into the narrative that's still prepping and still in defense and still in shock mode of whatever orbits I think are coming my way via karma. When in reality, I've probably been getting fucked up by karma. I maybe just need to get the fuck up right now and make a change right now and stop feeding that orb. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because then too, like when you talk about feeding that thing, and also what you were saying about you know, exerting yourself in a specific area for like
Yeah.
to be able to like find your Virgo and like what you need to be doing. It's because like, and then I like what you said too about when you do that and like you leave things to chance, it's like I would see that as like Piscean kind of energy. And if you using the Virgo energy just based off of like what you've already been doing or like what you have been seeing like in people around you, and just like You're like, okay, well, this seems to work
Inception.
for everybody else. So like you leave that
Yeah.
Pisces end like just open for anything. Like and like you don't have like haven't built up that area of that Piscean energy to exert into whenever it changes into Aries. So it's like,
And that's like, yeah, that's like that shit of when they say like, are you looking like when people that talk about money mindsets and whatnot, they're like, are you in a mindset of flow or are you in a mindset of I need to receive? You feel me? Like AKA being able to push out your own dreams is what's gonna fill your cup versus clinging to that need to have my cup filled. You feel me? Like those are two different directions of the same polarity.
yeah, yeah,
No, that's real shit. That's some real ass shit. Damn, I really didn't even do much of a reading for that day. In fact, I started on with an energy like this. I really just got into work. To be honest with you, I wasn't trying to do no type of lollygagging. I do have a Lilith in Aquarius natally, so maybe that is why is I had more light involved, more awarenesses, more orbs come up into play during this transit. But for me, it was really a time to put some work in because we have a lot of Pisces energy in between that yod. And so we're basically sending that supercharged middle point over to that Virgo energy of our Juno of knowing what we need to do. And are we just willing to do it? Are we willing to have unity between our Mars, Saturn, Neptune, Venus, and Uranian energies? You feel me? And to or not even Uranian. What the fuck is that? What is
oh,
that? That
that's
is
called
that true
Hygeia.
Mercury?
You talking
Oh,
about
what
this
is
one?
that? Yeah, what is that shit?
It's called Hygeia. It's an
That
asteroid.
look like that look like some crazy Mercury shit.
It I like that you said that because it deals with like holistic type of health, and it's like basically
Yeah.
like the what's it
Like
called?
Virgo Mercury, huh? Like it's like a
You know,
bodily,
like
like a
that
physical
ambulance sign with like
connection.
the snakes on it.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
people allude this to.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah. That's
health
what,
and things like that,
yeah,
that's pretty like mercurial, like finding like cures and things like that on like a scavenger
type of
hunt
shit,
kind of tip.
type of shit. But that's like sick, like that's like full cycle type of shit, not just attention, kind of how Mercury plays out. That's dope. But yeah, basically, to get back what I was saying is we have a bunch of energies in our own Pisces spots, aka we are willing to act on our delusions, but we're also willing to act on our dreams. So this is like we're really criticizing ourselves and criticizing what the fuck do we even have planned in front of us, and that's what can kind of scare us from going in our own direction per se, and cling to other people's bias and cling to other people's programs as far as a purpose goes. um but I don't even want to get too far into that direction just because I don't want to make this seem like this is a time where you should be isolated either. I mean, I know we think of Aries as isolation, but in reality, this should be like marriage. This should be like unity. This should be when things are becoming renewed, anew. You know what I mean? This is when things should be given birth to. So it's more of just you embracing your own position and embracing the dreams that you never thought you could have. And with the moon here, it's you reflecting on why the fuck did I not think that I could? And I'm seeing the individual string of moments that I would further feed into that would create a whole new crescendo of weights and things that I had to wait through and get through before I felt like this entire orb was finally put back into its box. You know what I mean? Pandora's box. So yeah, um, I really think it's just a time to get to your fucking shit, get to your business.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially me this
What was he pointing to whenever he's talking about the weights that would come up and that before you could like enact on that idea
so
or
if
whatever
you
you're trying to do?
yeah, so there has to be an order of operation between your desires. So like if you have if you should never, for example, you should never get in love with something that you've never actually experienced. Like you shouldn't be in love with just the allure of something, or the look of something that you haven't actually came across into experience because you don't know what type of lifestyle or what type of cycle it takes to produce such a product. You know what I mean? So basically, what I'm getting to is the wait lists to come from if you have a lack of priorities within your desires and you try to move forward without getting certain chakras aligned first, you're going to open up subsidiary waiting rooms where you're basically going to be trying to go and do the same thing that you were supposed to be doing originally with other people or other places and things or even verbs. but those things are going to be done in a spirit that is in lack of what you think you're missing from that very first thing that you didn't get over or you didn't learn to fulfill and learn to satiate. And so that would turn into just waiting rooms, um, to where you have to watch cycles go through and watch cycles die, and really remove yourself from cycles, which sometimes an early exit can hurt your feelings. You know what I mean? And it can really feel like you have a lack of energy, which leads you to getting back into those cycles. Because when you should have been creating your own spark, your own awareness, you were still hoping that this next connection was going to be the one to fulfill whatever desire you had, or this next idea was going to be the one to fulfill the desire you had. And that oftentimes will just lead you to shit that is still in light of you have to get over the real issue. And so that would just be an example of you missing the point, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I think I just went through something like that too. Not like uh I mean like I like curved that, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just by showing up to this. But
Well, that's another thing too, is you got to check what type of, I don't necessarily mean that in the sense of this, but I know exactly what you're referring to. And for me, I had to, just check what are my desires into what I'm getting into. I would never put in that work if I think that I should, if it's for a specific desire, because what I've been wiring my mind to associate with that desire, if I don't fully understand the cycle that it takes to get there, which if I did at that point, it should be no problem to go through it. Sagittarius Archer. So I can't have that type of mindset of thinking that's how I get from A to B. Otherwise, I'm just going to be pissed off that I'm not already at the desire, the fruit that I'm seeking, versus doing the work that I know will grant fruit, and then I just see what type of fruit it is. Like today, I kind of lacked confidence that I'd be able to give a reading just because I haven't really been in my astrology bag as much as I've been more into my artistic bag, as well as I still work a 9 to 5. But then at the same time, I was like, well, what the fuck is this? This is a science that I've only learned for the sake of casting a net and understanding how to put sensations that usually don't have words into words. That's all I learned this shit for, as well as seeing the potential mathematics that can come from it. You know what I mean? And that's what this is in live time. You know what I mean? We're doing an altar of our mind right now. We're just reflection of what these energies mean while conflating it with what we've been walking through as far as our own tarot. Now there are going to be bunches where we tend to show our own ass through that lack of preparation, but you know, we got Virgo and Juno and Virgo right now, Lilith and Virgo right now. Who knows? Who says you're really lacking preparation? You know, you got to actually show up. A big mantra I keep in my mind is the day that I don't show up to do what the fuck I wish I could do every day, something beat me, something got to me, something took my awareness from reaching to that threshold, that space that I wanted. And you know, you don't gotta get too delusional with certain things. Some things you might just like justify as, maybe today's not the day for that because I got more pertinent needs to take care of. You feel me? Which at that point you'll start to find the natural cycle of things. You'll find the natural cycle of certain crafts that you'll partake in. Um, Meaning like, damn, I could really only do something. I could really only go crazy at the gym like once every few days, realistically. Otherwise, I'm gonna be fucked up for like the next 2 weeks, and that's just gonna be more detrimental than consistent. You feel me? So that's not a real cycle. That's me forcing. You know what I mean? Which I mean, shit, you could call it a cycle. If you could do that, if you know what I mean. It's just what is your cycle? What is your goal, your end goal? That's really what Aries season is supposed to be. Not necessarily asking you so much about an end goal, but what is your idea? Where could we go? Where could we go? Floating over my way.
right. Cause like with that gym thing you was talking about, like it would be okay if like that's like the main thing that you did, that's like all you did, like how you was talking about that's like your main goals and things like that. But like that's when it comes down into like even that Cancer Virgo sextile, like you deciding on what you want to do and like whatever like emotions you have and like being able to like filter out like what holds more like prominence to you, like what holds like
Yeah,
greater like fulfillment to you in that Cancer area, like you getting that comfort and stuff, and like choosing that whatever that is as like the quote unquote main thing, or like lining things up in a way that would like nourish you in a sense. And that's what tells you that about that Virgo energy of like what to do in that area.
yeah, yeah. Where do you identify as your own decision and your own disposition? Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't use the expectations that Aquarius energy will give you if you're not willing to walk through those extra steps. Otherwise, you're gonna lack your place in that. You're gonna lack your dictation, your sense of nourishment, which is where we were talking about like that lack of fulfillment. On we were looking at the Virgo and Pisces spectrum as far as what is the source of us being aware of our cup, like where are we coming from to feel the need to have a cup full? Are we coming from the Aquarian cloud of asking for someone else to rain on us? Or are we coming from a space of knowing how, understanding how cycles like that come about and aligning myself to be where the cycle that I want to catch is and actually know what steps to take at that point because I've determined it. I know exactly what the input and output is. You know what I mean? But real shit, exactly like you're saying.
And yeah, because that was one of my notes too that I wrote down. I was talking about a UFO concept through the internet as means to gain control over the Cancer and Virgo areas of the individual's life. You can use that for like
Yeah,
positive or negative, ways of looking at different lifestyles and things like that.
and I get exactly what you mean with that. That's kind of why I want to get off the internet right now, is because a lot of people kind of rejected that lack of that, and so that'll be put into the shade of coping, to where people's life mission will be entirely rooted in what they think they fucking lack right now. You know what I mean? Um, and I mean, there's a quote that talks about like true knowledge and true equilibrium is being able to listen to anything without getting upset or harmed. But usually, whenever I'm listening to something, I give the I'm intending to connect. You know what I mean? I'm intending to have some type of awareness on it, and just for where I'm at in my current cycle, I really don't even want to be looking at life through those lenses of potential pessimism, because I think that any pessimism right now is going to be generated from a lack of belief or a lack of integrity that has cemented your lack of belief. You know what I mean? But you're still what you desire. And if you give up and you miss the point again through that yod and you see yourself as someone that's trapped in that Virgo energy, you're gonna get right into this Chiron energy that's about to be conjuncted with this Mercury retrograde. Which, hey, do you have the ability to skip forward to when we have the conjunction between Chiron and Mercury? I think that's gonna come
Yeah,
on. Go to that real quick because I want to see where the Sun and the North Node will be.
bet. We just got the 10-minute mark. So just letting you
Oh,
know.
let 10 minutes left.
Yeah. But I could resend the link.
That I mean, we can do that, or we can just maybe set up like regular installments of a series like this.
Yeah,
But
that'd
it's
be
really up
cool.
to you. I'm about to we really actually I'm gonna say it doesn't even necessarily need to be regular installments. We could knock it out tonight and do an extended episode, but we could just do this again rather instead of making it like a see this I have that Virgo energy kicking in right now. We're talking about it.
All right, that'll be Mercury and Chiron conjunct will be on April 15th.
15. Um that's a numerology 4, 6, 8. That's a numerology 9 day.
And the moon's gonna be in Cancer that day.
The moon's in Cancer. Yeah, it's a numerology 9 day. I'll be talking about Cancer and Sagittarius and yo together all the time because once you make your decision, that's going to dictate what type of meaning you're going to come to or the type of story or evolution arc you're going to have. Type of, you know what I mean? From what I thought would happen versus what actually happened.
Right.
Oh,
Then I'd be looking at Cancer as like the emotion that you hold, and that Jupiter exaltation is like the reasoning for the emotion. And then that ties
yeah.
into Sagittarian aspect you're talking about as well.
Yeah, the experience that connected you to that feeling, that you perceived yourself as that reflection, the moon's relationship with Cancer, you know? Let me take a look at this. The sun will be at 26 degrees north node day. Oh, so we already are on a conjunct. Is today the conjunct north node day?
Now this is the 15th.
Today's no. What degree are we in Aries today?
Oh, um, here,
We're in
15 degrees today.
yeah, it is north node. It is north node conjunction.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Isn't that what you hit me up for? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sun in North Node Cazimi. Or were we looking at Pluto and Aquarius? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
Time out, time out. Does that mean that the moon Cazimi Pluto the day before the sun Cazimi North Node? Because if so, that's kind of nuts. Because that would really put into astrological jargon of what the fuck I just went through the last 2 days of me being faced again with that reflection of self, that reflection of facets of either identifying as the problem that needs a solution. No, I don't want to say it like that. Either identifying as the person in my current shoes and looking to scope out a real avenue and a real accountable path of redemption, if that's where I see myself as in a deficit, or seeing the path that embodies me outside of that paradigm altogether, understanding that just like me even thinking like this is me in a lack, so I have to sidestep it all together to where today is like, okay, let's actually do it. Let's actually put our 2 steps in, our 2 steps forward. You feel me?
yeah. That was like, then this analogy might be a stretch, but like that's like you checking your pockets before you leave the house or something. Like, do I got
And
everything
not
good?
and now, yeah, and not seeing it there, but being like, oh, thank God I didn't leave the crib yet.
Yeah.
You feel me? Or thank me.
Damn. Bro, cause I had that 3D example happen to me like earlier this week. I don't know if it was on that day or not. It might have been. Yeah, anyways. But I'm pretty sure that
Well, you gotta
happened to
think.
me.
You got energies in certain spaces too. So once certain alignments are getting close to where you have your alignments, it'll start to kind of like get a little sensitive. Like you know how you are when you see something coming up close, you brace for it. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing right now is if you're sensitive enough, you can really learn how to not miss a single flight right now. Meaning, the minute you feel like you're getting stirred or bored or you're wasting time or whatever, you need to get the fuck up and do your next thing. You feel me? Do your next mission, or AKA when you feel you're getting pulled down, you need to catch that next flight. Don't over identify with it. Don't miss the point. And if you are missing the point, that means you're identifying with a facet of yourself right now that you are most likely not. And that's where you're getting weighed down is because you're still supporting logic and you're still speaking from an angle and feeling from an angle that is heavy to you. Um, which is why shadow work is important because all shadow work really is just you looking at your own self as the event of what the problem is and fixing your own problems and fixing your own emotions so you're in a good emotional disposition without having to make those events with other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hmm.
Otherwise, even if it wasn't necessarily a bad experience with somebody, it might just feel like you're just busting esoteric nuts all over someone's face, whether they're warranted or not, just for the sake for you to get your rounds off and get some type of reverberation, which that'll just give the energy of someone that doesn't have people in their regular day to day life. They lost access to a community, and that might very well be the feeling in the situation. But that's where our conversations off the camera have included conversations about, or included topics about how no one's actually alone. In fact, if you hone in on that emotion inside of you that really matters the most, that you think being alone could ever rival and compare to and damage, then if you actually were to feed into that, you would completely obliterate any type of chance of that. You would be what it looks like to build a community, which is you found something that showing up to every single day was worth your time and gave you nourishment and a meaning to life, and it made other people want to do it with you, or at least observe it.
And that's the healthy aspect of the Cancer sextile to Virgo and the apex of the yod being Aquarius.
What you think about this? These alignments I was seeing, this yod specifically, between Aquarius. But you said the apex is Aquarius. Oh, you're looking at the Cancer Vestas and whatnot, or
I'm
Vesta.
just looking at the energies in general, like between the signs.
got you.
Because like with the emphasis on like Aquarius energy with Pluto being there, and it's like whatever we're doing in like that Cancer and Virgo house or space we have it at is gonna be like how apt we are to utilize our Aquarius energy wherever we have it at.
But shit, mine's in the sixth house, hence me saying I'm getting to work.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, real shit. But hell yeah, I think that's the biggest thing right now is just starving yourself. That's why there's a fast during this time of the year. Ramadan is it's like you're basically coming out of the delusion month to where you really felt the weight of over identifying with bullshit and stupid shit and giving yourself stupid missions and you're feeling that weight in Pisces season. When we get in Aries season and it starts to get lighter and starts to get optimistic, this is basically you having a moment to really show how much those lessons mean to you and meant to you. Um, so it really is a time to just re-indoctrinate yourself, but also not return to the same space that you've been at. And that's kind of what this retrograde is showing you. I feel like I missed my point right there. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, but just for the sake of thought process right now, that's what Mercury retrograde is really trying to do for us right now. Is just keeping where are you still subscribing to places that you know are hurting you, and are you just are you really lacking this sense of self reflection and self connection to cycles because now that the spotlight doesn't feel like it's on you or because it doesn't feel like you are um burdened or stamped with whatever the fuck was on your forehead, are you still willing to put yourself in those esoteric harm's ways based on you not knowing that you're not maybe not damaged, but knowing that you're actually valuable? Or are you still stuck in no man's land trying to hokey pokey 1 foot in, 1 foot out of fuck it, am I worth it or am I not worth it? And really, it's just a matter of embarrassment, especially with this Lilith energy. You really just got to ask, what way am I willing to be embarrassed? Am I willing to be embarrassed that damn, maybe I'm not the best producer that I thought I was? But at least I'm producing and doing my own shit. Or am I going to be embarrassed in 5 to 10 years where right now I might feel good because I chose to instead just go to parties and chose to instead just do whatever the fuck I was doing. But then in 15 to 20 years,